Special Report, Benchmarking, Part 1 of 2. Welcome to this special report from Cosmic Algorithm Ltd, examining how the CAL strategy should be benchmarked and why its performance has increasingly diverged from the Nasdaq-100 Equal Weighted Index. The central benchmark for CAL is the Nasdaq-100 Equal Weighted Index, commonly referred to as NDXE. This is the most relevant comparison because both approaches reduce the dominance of the largest companies in the Nasdaq-100. However, they do so in very different ways. CAL is a dynamic, rules-based portfolio of approximately 20 Nasdaq-100 stocks. At each monthly rebalance, the portfolio allocates broadly equal capital across the stocks that rank most strongly under its multi-horizon momentum process. Weakening names can leave, persistent leaders can remain, and newly strengthening stocks can enter. NDXE, by contrast, is a broad equal-weighted index covering all 100 Nasdaq-100 constituents. Equal weighting reduces the influence of the largest market cap companies, but it still distributes capital across the full index. That means exposure remains in strong, average and weak constituents at the same time. This distinction matters. NDXE tests whether CAL's stock selection and rotation process adds value beyond equal weighting alone. It is therefore a fairer strategic benchmark than the conventional market cap-weighted Nasdaq-100, which can be driven heavily by a small number of mega-cap companies. Using the cash flow-adjusted reconstruction from the annual eToro statements, both CAL and NDXE were rebased to 100 in May 2021. By July 2026, CAL stood at approximately 219.5, compared with approximately 152.3 for NDXE. The timing of the divergence is particularly important. CAL and NDXE followed broadly similar paths through the market decline of 2022 and the recovery during 2023. A more sustained separation became visible from around May 2024, before widening further through 2025 and into the first part of 2026. The most plausible explanation is the interaction of concentration, ranking and rotation. From 2024 onward, market leadership increasingly favored areas such as semiconductors, artificial intelligence infrastructure, cybersecurity and other higher growth technology groups. Because CAL held approximately 20 selected stocks, each position could represent roughly 1/20th of the portfolio. This allowed more capital to be directed toward the strongest ranked parts of the Nasdaq-100 universe. NDXE, meanwhile, continued spreading capital across all 100 constituents, including companies that were slower moving or underperforming. Monthly re-ranking added a second source of differentiation. When a holding weakened sufficiently, it could leave the CAL portfolio. When another company strengthened, it could enter. NDXE could not respond selectively in the same way because its purpose is to represent the entire equal-weighted Nasdaq-100 rather than distinguish between leaders and laggards. The evidence therefore suggests that CAL's outperformance since May 2024 came primarily from active selection within the Nasdaq-100 universe, combined with disciplined monthly rotation. It did not arise from equal weighting by itself. This advantage is not permanent or guaranteed. A concentrated portfolio can also reverse more quickly when leadership changes, momentum breaks down, or selected sectors fall out of favor. The same structure that increases participation in strong trends can increase sensitivity when those trends weaken. For broader context, the latest 12-month figures supplied through the eToro platform showed CAL at approximately plus 47.99%. Over the same comparison period, the Nasdaq-100 was approximately plus 36.81%, the S&P 500 approximately plus 29.06%, the Euro STOXX 50 approximately plus 21.24%, and Bitcoin approximately minus 10.20%. These wider comparisons are useful, but they answer a different question. The conventional Nasdaq-100 is market cap weighted. The S&P 500 covers a much broader United States equity universe. The Euro STOXX 50 represents large euro area companies. Bitcoin belongs to a separate and highly volatile asset class. They help place CAL's recent performance in a wider market setting, but they do not isolate the value of CAL's selection process as directly as NDXE does. For that reason, NDXE should remain the primary strategic benchmark, while the other indices should be used as supporting references for market context and communication. The evidence since May 2024 supports the view that CAL added value through concentrated exposure to stronger-ranked Nasdaq-100 constituents and systematic monthly rotation. It does not establish permanent alpha. Future results will depend on whether the ranking process continues to identify durable leadership after costs, turnover and changing market regimes. A final methodological point is important. The CAL series used in this report is a cash flow-adjusted reconstruction from annual eToro statement summaries, supported by representative monthly values between anchor dates. It is not an audited monthly time-weighted return record. The wider 12-month comparison figures are those supplied by the eToro platform and should always be linked to the relevant platform observation date when published. Current example holdings include Applied Materials, Palo Alto Networks, KLA Corporation, NVIDIA, and Lam Research. These names are examples only and are not recommendations. Portfolio holdings may change as the model updates. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Investing involves risk, including the possible loss of capital. Thank you for listening. Part 2 will continue the benchmarking discussion and examine how the comparison should be interpreted across different market conditions.